Hi everybody, thanks for joining me. My name's Dave and welcome to how to choose a DC to DC charger. I've spoken before about the options for charging the battery, and the third option was to charge your battery with a DC to DC charger. However, how do you choose a DC to DC charger and what features should they have? So when you look at DC to DC chargers, there are many options. They range in prices and abilities as follows. Red Arc do a BC to DC classic underbonnet 25 amp DC battery charger at $669. Red Arc also do a 20 amp ignition control underbonnet DC battery charger at $599.01. Red Arc also do a BC DC classic underbonnet 40 amp DC battery charger at $779. Red Arc do a BC DC Classic Underbonnet 50 amp DC battery charger at $859. Red Arc do a BC DC Core in cabin 40 amp DC battery charger at $499. Kings 4-wheel drive Supercenter do a 25 amp DC to DC IP66 rated 12 24 volt MPPT solar lithium charger at $168.95. And they also do a 40 amp DC to DC IP66 12/24 volt MPPT solar lithium charger at $249. Renogy, this is a charger I use, has a DCC50S 12 volt 50 amp dual input DC to DC battery charger with MPPT, $319. Renogy also do a DCC30S 12 volt 30 amp dual input DC to DC battery charger with MPPT for $259.99. Projector do an IDC 45 amp 3-stage IntelliCharge 9 to 32 volt deep cycle dual battery charger, $660. And they do an IntelliCharge 25 amp 3-stage 9 to 32 volt deep cycle dual battery charger at $399. Projector also do a DC to DC charger IDC 25L 5-stage lithium at $445.92. Ridge Rider, that's super cheap, do a 12 volt 30 amp DC to DC battery charger at $248.99. These are just a few choices out there, but which one's right for you? So there's some words of wisdom here. Don't choose the cheapest just because it's the cheapest. Do not fall into the trap of buying something because it's what your mates have, such as a Red Arc. Also, just because a charger is expensive, it doesn't mean it's suitable either. What you need is a good power rating, such as 40 amps plus, up to the maximum input of your battery. For example, if your battery's maximum recharge rate is 30 amps, then it's no good buying a 50 amp DC to DC charger, because it's putting in too much power. However, if your maximum recharge rate is 100 amps, then anything up to 100 amps will be fine. The features on a charger vary, but there are some essential ones. Let's look at these in depth. A good output amperage. Personally, I would never go below 40 amps, but this really depends on your battery setup and battery type. I have two 120 ampere hour lithium LifePro 4 batteries at 240 ampere hours, which take a lot of charging, so I use a 50 amp charger. What I would say about this is you have to be careful when you get to too high an amperage, because if you have your battery in a battery box, the battery box may be only 30 amp rated. You've got to make sure you're not overcharging your battery over the top of the battery box voltage rating. If it is, you need to go straight to the battery with your input cables. MPPT controller. Most modern chargers come with a solar input in the form of an MPPT controller. I have two 200-watt solar blankets connected in parallel, but it does depend on the solar input ability of your charger. You must check that before you do this. Lithium compatible. Lithium charging capability is essential these days as AGM batteries are declining rapidly for LifePro power batteries, lithium batteries. Lithium wake-up feature. If a lithium battery gets to zero charge, it will invariably damage the battery. Essentially, it will not charge. The battery requires a voltage spike to get some power back in there to allow it to charge. The wake-up feature does exactly that. Charge feedback. If the auxiliary battery is filled and there is a solar input, the charger should divert the excess charge to the crank batteries. Battery monitor. A good DC to DC will come with a battery monitor. I have a Renogy battery monitor which measures input amps, output amps, battery voltage and time remaining left in the batteries at the current output rate, or time to recharge based on the current input rate. And what would I choose if I had the money to start again? If I had another chance, I would purchase the King's 40 amp DC to DC charger. It's cheap and does everything I need with a 2-year warranty. Combined with a dual 120 ampere hour lithium battery, its dual solar blankets will keep me on the grid for even weeks, even with 2 fridges. However, this may not suit everyone, so my message to you is do your research before making a decision. Anyway, that's all I have. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.